Julia's Eyesight Adventure. Hi, it's the 15th of October 2017. I've been a bit late making this video. I would say I've had some strain in my eyes this week. I'm evidently trying too hard. It's easy to try too hard. You get the tension, as I've described before, in the muscles over the left eye, particularly because I'm practicing more with that one, and a general sense of blur. And also I'm aware of the haziness of the incipient cataracts, not all the time, and it's a kind of a stimulus to me to relax and remember to look at the bigger picture. And I don't know if I become less aware of the haziness because things become clearer and more in focus, or maybe my lens is becoming more or less cloudy. I don't suppose opticians would say it can change in that way. But all I can do is try different things and see what the result is. So, CRB TFP 5CGO. 5CGO is looking as though it's double image type thing. 4K BER is definitely double images. They're sharper, but there's two of them, so it's hard to make them out. Let's try doing a bit of swinging, see if that relaxes my eyes enough to reduce the double images. I noticed watching myself swinging on video that my eyes often jump ahead of where my face is pointing. This is really a sign that I'm trying to control what my eyes are doing. I'm not aware of it, but if I was not trying to control my eyes, they would rest centrally within their sockets and they would be always looking straight ahead, and they would just be accepting the movement of the scenery past them without trying to look to see what's coming. So one thing I do to become aware where I'm looking, I put my hand at right angles to my face, so sort of in line with my nose, and if I look at that camera lens with my right eye, there we are now, so I can compare right eye, left eye, and get the camera lens central. So I can see everything passing through the kind of gate, the window, which appears between the images of the front of my hand and the back of my hand. So does that help? Just do a couple of swings with my eyes closed. Think about letting my eyes sit in their sockets, really relaxed, and just having the scenery flowing past them, like that. I won't know till I look at the footage. So here's a slow motion replay of me swinging round to the left, and my eyes are moving too far to the left. They're trying too hard. And as I turn back, they swing too far to the right again. So then I practice with my hand as a guide to make a gate to look through. And it lets them point in the right direction more. They're much more centralized. And then when I take the hand away, they retain that relaxed central position. They look more balanced. Except to the end when I started to say something and they moved ahead again. Yesterday it was a lovely sunny morning and we were out in the fields walking the dog. I was with Chris, my husband, who has always had really sharp, distant vision. And so we were playing with what we could see in the distance. Now, I know when you're out in the open and the sun is shining, there's a lot of light. So your pupils actually contract and you get probably a pinhole effect, which means that you can see more sharply than you would expect to be able to see for your measured focal distance. But even so, I was looking at electricity pylons. We were counting them because there's a row of them going into the distance, so you can see the one that's near and then you can count further and further away and see how far you can get. And on one of the really distant ones, Chris was pointing out that there's a little notice on it that's flashing in the sunlight, and if it was just me, I would never have noticed it. He caught it in his peripheral vision, he said, and that got his attention, and he looked at it and he thought it's one of those little safety notices on the pylon, and it's waving in the wind and reflecting the sun. So this made me curious, and I was looking around to see how much was visible to me, and I finally caught sight of this very tiny little distant piece of plastic reflecting sunlight. So I just want to say that demonstrates that even if you have quite short sight, if you're -3, whatever I am, don't think to yourself that you just are blind as a bat and you can't see anything. Just relax, play with it, get somebody with good vision to point things out, and just see how much you can notice if you give yourself a space. This may appear not to be particularly relevant to everyday life, because everyday life is very rushed and people come at you and things come at you, and it is demanded of you that you instantly focus on things. But it's so nice to take those glasses off and be out in the air and the wind and the sun, and to realize that you can see quite a long way into the distance and quite a lot of detail. I'm aware that it probably seems from these diary videos I'm making that not much is actually changing in my own eyesight, but I must say that today, not at this moment particularly, but during the course of the day, I have noticed a sense of greater clarity, a sense of more connection with things. It's so hard to describe, because the moment you try to pin it down and you try to say, oh, okay, then show us how much you can see, it kind of goes away, because A, you're imposing strain, and B, it's probably not as continuous as it feels as though it is. It just comes and goes. But I have felt today greater relaxation and a better connection with the world than before. And I feel it's possibly because I did about half an hour's palming in the middle of the night, which seems silly, but I do think I probably don't palm enough. And it's good to do an extended period of palming and just really home in on the idea that you're detaching your will from what your eyes are doing. You're just letting them be and relaxing and focusing on the black and maybe on what you can hear rather than what you think you ought to be able to see. So that's it for today. See you next time. Bye.